Hi, I'm Wes Kosmal. So, in our world history video, we discussed telephones and the replacement of the tools of authenticity. And we said something about cowboys. Remember those open rangeland cowboys? The don't fence me in types that fought the settlers and their barbed wire? 100 years after those battles, I was selling software to their spiritual descendants in and around Cambridge, Massachusetts, USA. My customers and friends were developing many of the methods and protocols that the internet was built upon. Actually, I spent a lot of time just hanging out with them, learning from them when I was supposed to be selling to them. Don't tell my boss. The protocols and methods were in turn built upon assumptions, the assumptions of open rangeland cowboys. They had mottos like, information was meant to be free, and yes, don't fence me in. Indeed, the open rangeland cowboys invented the internet. So when we city dwellers wanted to understand how their invention could help us, we asked them what their internet thing was all about. That was entirely proper, of course. Who better to ask about the technology and protocols of this outdoor public transport system that came to be known as the Information Highway or Information Superhighway? But here's the problem. All the internet cowboys wanted to do was sleep under the stars, while the rest of us wanted to use the highway to get to places where we could keep our files, have our meetings, indoor meetings, and let our kids hang out in safe facilities. Safe facilities. Now, if you need advice on living outdoors, who better to ask than a cowboy on the open range? If, on the other hand, you want to have meetings in an office building in Denver, or build a clubhouse for your kids and their friends in Abilene, better talk to an architect or builder rather than a cowboy. The entire set of assumptions and methods about information security come directly from the open range cowboys, whose idea of security is Fort Apache, a tall stockade whose function is to separate the bad guys from the good guys. In their view, the job of information security is to determine the intentions of the sender of a stream of bits. In other words, when a stranger shows up as you're sitting around the campfire eating your grub, you better be able to size him up real quick-like and draw your Colt 45 before he draws his. If that cowboy were put in charge of an office building, he'd tell the receptionist, "Darling, I want you to size up every hombre that walks through that door. Tell me what he's up to, and tell me whether he's straight up or a bad dude." Imagine the result. Those who could portray themselves as good guys would get through, so only those who weren't skilled enough to put on a convincing front would be blocked. There would be no security. And in fact, that is just what we have in online spaces. There is no security in online spaces. That is, no security in the world's information infrastructure. No security in that which we depend upon more and more every day. It's true, what we used to call the information highway is in fact a marvelous, smoothly paved highway, a wonderful outdoor public transport system with a complete set of helpful signage and markings and traffic control called the World Wide Web. So let's hear it for the open rangeland cowboys. They gave us an incredible outdoor public information highway system. An outdoor information infrastructure that brings openness to oppressed people everywhere, people who can now defy the efforts of regimes to keep them in the dark. Really, the internet doesn't need fixing. The outdoor highway is magnificent as it is. But if that's so, then why does MIT Technology Review, among others, tell us that the internet is broken? Well, something's broken, it's true. After all, sleeping under the stars in downtown Denver presents problems, as does the practice of keeping our files, having our meetings, and letting our kids hang out in a rest area beside a busy highway. That's because all the existing internet layers are really transport layers, regardless of what the cowboys call them. The internet is all outdoors, all the time. So if you think that outdoor rest stops along the information highway are a good place to have your meetings, keep your files, and let your kids hang out, If you think that antivirus software and firewalls and intrusion prevention systems are doing a good job of delivering information security, and that by handing over personal information and bank account numbers and passports, and maybe a few geese and pigs to the various gangs of online botnet thugs, they'll be content with their current level of random fraud and theft, that is, if you think that things won't continue to get worse, and that the smartest leader of the toughest gang of thugs will never consolidate his power, making life truly miserable for our sons and daughters, if you think that there's not too much inauthenticity in the online and offline world, then thanks for watching. I hope you found our history of the world and Cowboys on the Open Range entertaining. If, on the other hand, you want to be part of the solution to the problems of inauthenticity, please watch the next video. It's entitled, What Do Highways Bring Us To? In it, we'll show how the first two parts of the quiet enjoyment infrastructure will solve the problems of inauthenticity, but only if people like you get involved. That is, people like you who understand that inauthenticity is a problem that must be solved. Perhaps you can think of an answer to the question, what do highways bring us to, before you tune into the video of that name. What do highways bring us to? Yeah, I think you got it. I'll see you there.